The tragic legacy of inbreeding, a tapestry of power and pain. What if your destiny, your health, your mind, your very essence was written in the stars before your first breath? For centuries, royal dynasties and isolated communities wove their fates with a dangerous thread, the pursuit of pure bloodlines. The cost minds unmoored bodies frail, and legacies tangled in a web of genetic ruin. Today, we unravel the haunting, heartbreaking, and sometimes shocking stories of history's most inbred women. From gilded thrones to forgotten hamlets, their lives bear the scars of ambition and isolation. By the time we reach number 1, prepare to be stunned. Number 10, Joanna of Castile, the Mad Queen. Joanna of Castile, 1479-1555, known as Joanna the Mad, was born into the powerful Trastamara dynasty, where royal marriages were less about love and more about consolidating power. Her parents, Ferdinand VI of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, were second cousins, their union sealing Spain's unification. But this was only the beginning of Joanna's tangled lineage. Her grandparents were also cousins, creating a knot of ancestry that tightened with each generation. Married at 16 to Philip the Handsome, another cousin through multiple lines, Joanna bore 6 children, but her life was marred by tragedy. Historians debate whether her madness, episodes of paranoia and despair, was genetic exacerbated by inbreeding or a product of political manipulation. Her son Charles V inherited a vast empire, but also a legacy of fragile health. Joanna's story is a stark reminder even queens cannot escape the shadow of their bloodline. Number 9. Elizabeth of Austria, the Lonely Empress. Elizabeth of Austria, 1837 to 1898, known as Sisi, was the radiant empress of the Habsburg dynasty, a family infamous for its intricate web of intermarriage. Her parents, Duke Maximilian in Bavaria and Princess Ludovica, were first cousins, their shared grandparents binding the family tree into a suffocating loop. Elizabeth's marriage to Emperor Franz Joseph I, her first cousin, was a political maneuver to strengthen Habsburg ties. The couple's 4 children faced grim fates. One died in infancy, another committed suicide, and the others battled lifelong ailments. Elizabeth herself suffered from depression and an eating disorder, retreating into solitude. Her beauty masked a genetic burden, only 6 unique great-grandparents, a compression that mirrored isolated tribal clans. Her life, a blend of glamour and grief, reflects the heavy price of dynastic ambition. Number 8. Betty Hart, the modern outcast. Not all stories of inbreeding belong to ancient courts. Betty Hart, born 1960s, a pseudonym for a woman from a reclusive Appalachian family in the United States, brings this tragedy into the present. Documented in a 2000s expose, the Hart family lived in a remote valley, marrying within their clan for generations. Betty's parents were siblings, and her grandparents were first cousins, creating a genetic bottleneck with devastating effects. Betty, one of 8 children, suffered from intellectual disabilities and congenital heart defects. Her son, born to a cousin, faced similar challenges, his frail body a testament to the family's isolation. The Hart's story, uncovered by social workers, shocked the nation, proving that inbreeding's toll lingers in modern shadows far from royal intrigue. Number 7. Maria I of Portugal, the Pious Queen. Maria I of Portugal, 1734 to 1816, dubbed Maria the Pious, ruled during a turbulent era, but her reign was overshadowed by a crumbling mind. Her parents, King Joseph I and Mariana Victoria of Spain, were first cousins, part of a long Iberian tradition of close marriages. Maria's own marriage to her uncle Pedro III tightened the genetic noose. Of her 9 children, only 4 survived childhood, their frail bodies hinting at recessive disorders. As Maria aged, her mental health deteriorated, hallucinations and paranoia led to her confinement. Historians now suspect inbreeding amplified her psychological fragility. Her legacy, once marked by piety, became a cautionary tale of royal bloodlines stretched too thin, where devotion to tradition birthed tragedy. Number 6. Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, the dutiful queen. Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, 1744 to 1818, wife of King George III of Britain, is often remembered for her loyalty and intellect, yet her story hides a darker thread. Her parents, Duke Charles Louis and Princess Elizabeth Albertine, were second cousins, and her marriage to George III, a distant cousin, wove another layer into the Hanoverian tapestry. Of their 15 children, several suffered from mysterious ailments, and 2 died young. Charlotte herself battled chronic pain, possibly linked to genetic disorders. Her husband's descent into madness, likely porphyria, a hereditary condition, cast a shadow over their reign. Charlotte's life, a blend of duty and quiet suffering, shows how even a beloved queen could not outrun her lineage's flaws. Number 5. Victoria Eugenie of Battenberg, the hemophilia carrier. Victoria Eugenie, 1887 to 1969, known as Ina, was a granddaughter of Queen Victoria and Queen Consort of Spain. Her marriage to King Alfonso XIII was a union of cousins. Her mother, Princess Beatrice, and Alfonso's mother, Maria Cristina, shared close ancestry. Ina's bloodline carried a deadly secret hemophilia inherited from Queen Victoria. 2 of her 4 sons suffered from the bleeding disorder, their lives marked by pain and early death. Ina's role as a carrier strained her marriage and fueled public blame. Her story bridges the old world of royal alliances and the modern understanding of genetics, a poignant example of how inbreeding can ripple through generations, leaving heartbreak in its wake. Number 4. Maria Anna of Austria, the Forgotten Archduchess. Maria Anna of Austria, 1683 to 1754. A lesser-known Habsburg, embodies the dynasty's obsession with purity. Her parents, Emperor Leopold I and Margaret Teresa of Spain, were uncle and niece, their union producing a family tree more akin to a knotted vine. Maria Anna's own marriage to her cousin King John V of Portugal continued the pattern. Of her 6 children, only 2 reached adulthood, their health plagued by congenital issues. Maria Anna's genetic profile was so constrained, equivalent to a child of siblings, that her story rivals the infamous Charles II of Spain. Yet history overlooks her, a silent figure whose life underscores the Habsburgs' genetic gamble, where power trumped biology. Number 3. The daughters of Akhenaten, Egypt's heretic pharaoh. In ancient Egypt, around 1350 BCE, the daughters of Pharaoh Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti bore the weight of divine inbreeding. Akhenaten married his sister Nefertiti, following a tradition that deified royal blood. Their 6 daughters, likely married to their father or brothers, faced grim fates. Archaeological evidence reveals 2 mummified infants, possibly their granddaughters, with severe deformities, elongated skulls, spinal defects, and frail bones. These children, born into a dynasty that equated purity with godhood, paid the ultimate price. Their tiny remains, unearthed in the Valley of the Kings, whisper of a time when even pharaohs could not defy the laws of biology. Number 2. Sarah Johnson, the isolated survivor. Sarah Johnson, born 1970s, a pseudonym, hails from a secluded Australian outback community where a family's multi-generational inbreeding shocked the world in the 2010s. Sarah's parents were first cousins, her grandparents' siblings, creating a genetic echo chamber. Of her 5 siblings, 3 had severe developmental disorders, and Sarah herself struggled with vision loss and infertility. Her children born to a cousin faced similar fates, prompting authorities to intervene. The family's isolation, driven by distrust of outsiders, mirrored royal dynasties but lacked their grandeur. Sarah's story, uncovered through legal action, is a modern tragedy, a stark reminder that inbreeding scars persist in hidden corners. Number 1. Ptolemy XIII. Sisters, the Ptolemaic queens. At the pinnacle stands the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt, epitomized by the sisters of Ptolemy III, Cleopatra VII, and Arsinoe IV, circa 69 to 30 BCE. Their parents, Ptolemy XII and his sister wife, were products of a 300-year tradition of sibling and uncle-niece marriages. The Ptolemies, Greek by blood, guarded their Macedonian heritage with ferocious purity. Cleopatra, married to her brothers Ptolemy the 13th and 14th, bore children whose health was precarious. Her son Caesarion died young, possibly from genetic frailty. Arsinoe, less famous, faced exile and execution, her life a footnote to Cleopatra's legend. The sisters' lineage, a labyrinth of repeated names, was a genetic cul-de-sac. Cleopatra's brilliance masked the toll, but her dynasty's collapse marked the end of an era where bloodline trumped all. Conclusion: a legacy. Woven in blood. From the marble halls of Vienna to the dusty trails of Appalachia, the pursuit of purity, whether for power, tradition, or survival, has left a trail of broken lives. These women queens and outcasts alike were bound by the invisible chains of their ancestry. Their stories, spanning millennia, remind us that history is not just shaped by wars or treaties, but by the quiet, relentless arithmetic of biology. As we reflect on their triumphs and tragedies, we see a universal truth: no crown, no isolation can shield us from the consequences of our choices. Their legacies endure, etched in the fragile threads of human inheritance.